Another question we always have is there's also the project Science Commons. In Germany or in Europe, it isn't popular at this time. What is the idea behind Science Commons comparable to Creative Commons?
Well, so I describe Creative Commons as saying we wanted to provide simple tools to enable authors to mark their content with the freedoms they intended to carry. That's a particular implementation of a more general idea. The more general idea is, how can we hack the legal system to allow people to do what they want to do, but which right now the legal system would inhibit them from doing, right? And if you take the array of all those ways we could hack the legal system, we've picked the low-hanging fruit first, okay? Well, Science Commons is trying to do that in the context of science. So the first place that they did it, and it is important internationally, is in the context of open access publishing. So some of the most important open access journals or projects use Creative Commons licenses to mark their published works in a way that makes them universally accessible without barriers of wealth or access. So the Public Library of Science is the best example of that, but there are many more that are trying to make it so people, regardless of their origin of their national origin or their wealth, can get access to scientific knowledge freely. But beyond that obvious extension of Creative Commons, the Science Commons project is working on other areas where the default legal regime inhibits the kind of research and development that people otherwise would think they want to do. So, for example, in the context of work around materials and materials transfer projects, here too there are simple ways in which we could hack the legal system to facilitate broader transfer of materials, consistent with what the scientists want, but inconsistent with how the default of copyright law or patent law functions. And so we're exploring in a lot of different contexts ways in which we could just make the system function better, more consistent with what the scientist wants, not just by copyright licenses, but by other legal devices that we could deploy that would advance the objective of researches in the context of science.
We will see it. When will it come to Europe?
Well, the Science Commons, I don't know whether it will ever be internationalized in the way Creative Commons is internationalized. But I do think that we will have internationalized projects. So we've been talking in Germany with different science organizations that have projects they'd like to advance which fit this general model. Like, how can you hack the legal system to make it function better for science? And we're exploring developing those projects in different places around the world. But it's not a project that makes sense to try to think of 150 different jurisdictions that are implementing it. It's a common set of objectives we're trying to achieve internationally, and let's figure out as many places in which we can advance that.